Today on Greatness Coaching and Therapy with Heidi M, we are talking about grief and loss, how to deal, how to cope. Heidi, first of all, welcome to Greatness Coaching with yourself.
Thank you. Thank you with myself. Thank you, Ian.
Are you well?
I am. Thank you so much. How's it going on your side?
All good, thank you. We're still surviving. We've been through all the elements, we're still surviving.
Yes. No, it's just been crazy. It's been crazy what's been going on in our country and worldwide. So, yes, always something to be grateful for. I hear it's much worse elsewhere.
Yeah.
So let's count our blessings.
Absolutely.
And dealing with grief and loss. Yes, it's a very serious one we're discussing today. But incredibly important, isn't it? It's not just with death of a loved one. It's also divorce. It's also perhaps losing your job. It's also perhaps some other adverse events, an assault. Anything like that could cause grief and feeling or a sense of loss. And, I just want to run through the stages of grief, as that fantastic psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross described. It's so true and it's universal. The first stage is denial, where we have difficulty accepting the reality of the loss, whatever the loss may be. And then follows anger. As the reality of that loss sinks in, Eon, then we become frustrated and angry. And we ask those questions, why me? Why did this happen? Why did it happen to me? And then there's that strange behavior, bargaining, where we kind of want to bargain with a higher power, where we say, okay, perhaps I can have my fate reversed or mitigate this loss somehow. How can I do that? And of course, that is not possible. And I think the reality of that then sets in and causes depression, sadness, profound feelings of loss and emptiness follows. And then the next stage, which is acceptance. It's important to understand that acceptance doesn't necessarily mean that you're completely over it, that you just forget about it and you move on. It's more finding a way to live with the loss. Yeah. The loss that occurred, So that leads us to things that you can do to deal with this. Firstly, you have to acknowledge your feelings. This is not the time to deny your feelings. This is not the time to sweep this under the carpet. You absolutely must and have the right and should acknowledge your feelings and understand and say to yourself that what you are feeling, whether it's sadness or anger or guilt or confusion, whatever it is, give it a name, label it, and feel it, acknowledge it. And then you're going to allow yourself to grieve. It's very important that we don't rush this process. It's not the same duration. It's not the same time period for everybody. We all are different and all our situations are also different. So there are many variables. So please allow yourself to grieve. Take the time. Give yourself the permission to mourn. If you struggle to find it within yourself to give yourself the permission, write it down. Write it down on a piece of paper and look at it. And then it becomes real. Then it becomes almost tangible that you have the permission. Of course, Ian, I want to say that the support, seeking support, reaching out to family or friends or even a professional like a therapist for emotional support is incredibly important. It is not desirable to mourn on your own. Us human beings were not made for that. I often say we are herd animals, and especially in a time of mourning, and especially the time of grief, you have to have support of some kind. A wonderful tool to use is to journal. I know many people frown upon journaling, but these are extenuating circumstances. And it can really help you to make sense of your thoughts and your emotions. It's extremely therapeutic to write down your thoughts and emotions, even if you're just scribbling, even if you're very cryptic, even if you want to write massively long sentences without punctuation and out capital letters. Very important to journal. So if you just get started, you'll see that it kind of flows because it is such a therapeutic process. And then a very practical thing that people can do that is very healing is creating rituals and memorials honoring the memory of a loved one or the memory of what you were before this adverse event or how life was, honoring that through these rituals and creating memorials. I know some people plant a tree for somebody who has passed on, or a beautiful bedding with flowers, or whatever you want to do, a certain time of the day, if you want to light your candles, or whatever it is, it must just be something that is reminding you sufficiently of what you have lost and allowing you that space to be, that mind space to be accepting of yourself and what you are feeling at that moment, and where you can actually perhaps even say out loud your feelings and what you remember and how you are holding the beautiful memories dear. There's also something called the waves of grief, and this can be very confusing to people, Eon, where you feel much better today and then tomorrow it comes back in a big old wave.
Yeah.
And you think, oh my goodness, yesterday I had such a good day and now I'm struggling today. Now I'm starting this whole process all over again, and it's confusing to me and it's unsettling to me. It is normal. Accept those waves. And this is where your journal is going to come in very handy again, where you can track your process. That is so soothing. It's really, really healing to track the process and see how you felt on a certain day, and see physically right there written in front of you. You will be able to see how this is not going to feel like this forever, how this is getting better. Then give yourself grace. Please understand that healing from grief is not a linear process. It doesn't go in a straight line. There are ups and downs. There's not a wrong way or a right way to grieve. So you have to be patient. You have to be kind to yourself. And we discussed before, Eon, just on that point of being kind with yourself, kind to yourself, is that does not necessarily mean lying in bed for 4 weeks on end. That's not desirable. That's not being kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself is doing some of these things, or all of these things that we just mentioned. Surrounding yourself with loved ones, doing things that feed your soul, that nurture your soul. Eating whatever you can see is also not desirable. Be careful that you don't confuse destructive behavior with caring for yourself. Find somebody that you can talk to about these things in ways to care for yourself, that can also just be there as a bit of a voice of reason, while your voice of reason may be slightly clouded at this time. And importantly, it won't stay like this forever. You won't feel like this forever. I think especially for children, it can feel like, for children, one day feels like a week to us. So they might think that they're going to feel this sad or upset forever. So remind your children, remind yourself, it's not going to stay like this forever. Just hang in there. Just keep going. Just keep doing what we mentioned now. Accept the waves. It will get better.
That's it. Heidi, what you're saying there about the waves is so true. And, it takes just a small event like a smell, a certain smell or a certain song or a sound or a word or a photo to just bring all that back again and take you way back to where you were in that grief process. Hey, isn't that just, I saw that with my father's death. You think you're okay. And then one day there's this song coming on the radio and you're just a mess.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. But you never go back to that first initial moment of that deep into despair. So you are making progress, even if, Eon, it is 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. You're still moving forward.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Grief is I mean, it's inevitable. We all go through it. Yeah. It's part of life. Yeah. And
a complicated thing. Yeah.
Very, very complicated. Yeah. But thank you so much for sharing your insight. And I really hope it helps with, our listeners going through these things, or possibly still in the future. Yes. You never know. It's you can't avoid it.
Absolutely, it's going to happen at one point or another. Yeah. So, just know it's there are tools available. Make your people around you aware of what you're going through, sharing those feelings so that we can be there for each other.
And Heidi, can you help us deal with grief as well?
Yes, and that is exactly the same idea as all my other work that I do. I take people for their individual sessions with me, and we meet you at the level where you're at, to see exactly where you are at, and then we build on that. And people can get hold of me on Facebook, Heidi M Wellness, or they can pop me a WhatsApp, a text message on 079-815-6305, and then we can just talk and see what we can do for you. You're not alone. You're not alone. Even if I can't help you myself, I can give you ideas of what to go out and do. So there's always help available.
And Heidi, do you think that time is indeed a healer?
Yes, Eon, I've been very fortunate that I haven't lost a person in my immediate family or in my immediate circle of friends. So I've heard from my other friends and from other family members that time is not the healer it's made out to be. It's got a lot to do with how you live with the memory, how you choose to, because at some point this becomes a conscious decision, choose to move forward with your life, keeping the person that you've lost or accepting the events that happened to you in such a way that you can move forward and not being crippled by the pain of it, but being able to move forward in life. Still honoring the memory of that person, standing tall, looking the world square in the eyes, remembering that thing that happened, that person that you may have lost, is watching over you and just keeping on making them proud. And I think that should propel you forward. But don't rely on just time and say, okay, I'm just going to wait and that's going to make it better. It doesn't work like that. You're going to work at it. Nothing works if you don't. So, it's a beautiful, gentle process. Easy does it.
That's a nice way of putting it. Heidi, thank you so much. Until next week, I promise next week we'll have a happier topic for our listeners. In fact, what are we talking about next week, Heidi?
We are going to talk about a work-life balance. Yes.
Okay, I need some of that advice, please. Okay.
Stand by. I was going to ask you about your work-life balance, Ivan.
Until next week.
Until next week, my friend.
Thanks, Heidi. You too. Bye.
Bye.